come off a loss. What's the accountability factor with Nick? How does he go through the game with you guys on a Tuesday and a Monday? And what are the conversations from a back and forth standpoint?
Nick and I, the entire defensive staff, we're all constant communication of, hey, what do we want to do to try to win the game this week? What calls are we going to call? How are we playing? What are the adjustments? So anytime when you come back in after the game, win or lose, you're talking about, hey, did we get those things done? Did we make adjustments? Where can we get better? How can we set the game plan up a little bit better? So high accountability. It's just there's no difference than that than in a training camp practice when we come off the field and watch the tape all together. Like, why is this guy doing that? Why is it? What are you coaching him here? What should he be doing? So high accountability in our building.
What was your reaction to what Fletcher Cox said, both the content of his frustration and the public nature of it?
I understand Fletch's point. I think it comes from he's an unselfish player that has a lot of passion for winning and losing, and our entire defense is frustrated how that we're 2-5 right now because we know we're not playing well enough. Talk to Fletch about, hey, like that's what's your viewpoint of how we can play a little bit better on defense. And do that with really all of our guys on all three levels from a standpoint of, hey, here's a game plan, here's what we're thinking, here's what we need to get done. Hey, we're 2-5 guys, what's going on? Hey, I can do this better, you guys can do this better, the coaches can do this better. So it's with what any player says after a game out of frustration or, it comes from a good place of we want to win. That's what this game is about, winning and losing. So, and that's where I think that comes from Fletch. So I love that about him.
He's spoken up publicly, though, Jonathan, about specifically, he's suggesting pretty strongly that he doesn't agree with the way that he's being deployed.
Yeah.
How does that mesh with your general philosophy that you've shared with us? That the whole, your whole philosophy is about making sure you're putting the play that you're bending the scheme.
Yeah, he's got
good
points. I need to do a better job of that with him. And the key thing is with that is together, player and coach and player, how we do that and how we go about that. And he's had some very good ideas, as our other players have had good ideas. And then it's up to us as the coaches to get that done and execute those things.
Will you make some changes to free him up from the double teaming? He doesn't like the double teaming. Will you do that?
Yeah, as much as we can, we try to do that. And we got some things in our pocket that we've done, up until this point, and some things that we're taking a look at to get that done. But you always want to try to free up, the inside guys so they can play one-on-one with offensive linemen where they have a better chance to win that down. People typically aren't going to let you, roll off and play 5 one-on-ones all day long, because they know that our D-line, we have an advantage over offenses. So it's always a blend of schematically, what is this call? Why are we putting it? What situation is this call for? Where's the strength? Where's the stress? Why are we calling it? So, and we can always do a better job of, as working from front to back, how we mix those things together.
You met with Howie in the personnel department this offseason and told him your schemes, your plans. How much of your input was taking into what players were brought in here to match the schemes that you...
A lot of input. Like what we talked about, like with the free agency and the draft, like that's a collective thing. Those are longer meetings with Howie and the head coach, and with all the scouts, the pro scouts, the college scouts. Hey, here's what we're looking for. This is how we would like to play. This is the skill set from the left corner to the right DN to the Mike linebacker. This is who we can play with. Here's comps for those positions. Here's who have played at a high level in this sort of style of defense. And we work to build it from there. So it's been a good collective, process of what we're trying to do and who we need to play in those roles.
Can I just
play in your role? I mean,
say it again.
Do you have those players to play?
Absolutely. We got everybody that we need to play winning football is in that building right there. I'm 100% confident in that.
Best employed as a 4-eye tech this is something that they specifically drafted him to be an edge guy.
Yeah.
He played that at FSU. They kept saying how he was totally out of position, and something similar. I don't know exactly. But so I know he's not playing there all the time, but like Ryan Kerrigan had never played that position before. Teron Jackson's 240 pounds. Are they ideally suited for that spot?
Yeah, I mean, when those guys are playing, you see the rotations by packages. We try to, there's times where they're not ideally suited for that spot, but we try to, within, who's playing, we try to make it to where we're putting those guys in position for the most part to get into the skill set that they're most comfortable with. And that's just like any corner or linebacker or safety. Sometimes they get a little bit, some safeties want to play deep half all the time. Well, sometimes you got to get in the box and play cover 3. Some corners want to play man-to-man all the time. Well, sometimes with this call, because what we're trying to get done with that call, you got to play cloud. So it's always a blend of taking our guys' skill set, putting them in that position as much as possible within the scheme of this is who we're defending and how we want to play. That's a good question.
I think Nick used the term challenge. Maybe we need to challenge some offense a little bit more. What does that mean to you when he says that?
That came from me. I mean, when we got out of the game, I said the ball didn't hit the ground. That tells me we got to challenge, a little bit more. So that's within, hey, this is our Rolodex of coverages, how we want to play, what we need to get done. I need to change some coverages up and challenge a little bit more, get a little tighter, get closer to people, close windows. Pre-snap disguise, post-snap disguise, what are we doing with the coverages? So that needs to get corrected because it's hard to play winning football when the ball doesn't hit the ground.
As a follow-up to that, it wasn't just exclusive to Carr. Opposing quarterbacks are completing 74% of their passes against you. Is this a function of the scheme, and has this challenge sentiment been expressed before?
It has been expressed before, but Nick and I, he knows what ultimately we're trying to do to get done to win the game playing complementary football as well. So a lot of times, you look at it, and if a completion percentage is really high, but it's really not, it's going to the success rate of them scoring or them winning the game. Sometimes you're okay with it by certain coverages. This is where we want the ball to go. You guys heard me talk about, with some of the shell defenses, like this was an explosive shot play and it got 8 yards. Like that's really a win for the defense. Now, with saying that, you have to blend getting tight on people to where you're eliminating some of those hidden yardage on catch and run checkdowns, and where it's a high level of completions where now you're not, you don't get it to third down, you don't get off the field, you have these long drives. So I can do a better job of mixing to get tighter, and challenge a little bit more and put our guys in a better position to win certain downs.
You're not okay though you wouldn't be okay with the team with the way the Raiders did not have to see third down very often from maybe their second possession to their fifth or sixth, almost exclusively.
Yeah, the 2 drives where it was first and second down, that's not good football by us, and I've talked about that. You got to get a team to third down. To do that, you got to be a little more, we got to change a little bit what we're doing on first and second down to do that.
Did you feel like you did some changes going into that game to try to
Yeah, we did. The coverages that we had up for that game were a little bit different than we've played in the past. Actually trying to get tighter. I feel like they did some things that, didn't allow us to get tight by how they aligned people. So it's up to us to figure out ways to where when we call something to get tight, to stay tight. So that's up to us.
What are some examples of the way that this system fits the player's skill sets? Like, what do you say?
From a front, back to like,
wherever you see it.
As far as what our corners are asked to do, it fits what we have in our building for our corners. Our safeties, they run the show. They're smart, physical players that are good in coverage. We have that. Our linebackers, from a standpoint of when we play shell defense, are pattern match. So they have to process and figure out who to get on and drop in zones first and then match people. They do that. Our D-line, when we ask them to penetrate and attack, they do a good job of that, and we ask them when they have to, play a certain style, depending on the coverage behind them, to be salty in the run game and play blocks, they can do that. So that's why I say, guys, like the schematic thing of do we have the right people in the building? Yeah, we have to coach better. I know that, 2 and 5, that says that immediately. Who does that fall on? Us. But with saying that, our guys have proven, and we can be more consistent with it to be able to play winning football and do everything that I just talked about.
The way you guys want to play complementary football, when you're having your discussions with Nick, how much do you weigh the fact that you're holding teams to a small clip per play, but you're also then allowing longer drives, which then in turn stops them?
That's a good question. There's a balance of that, you know what I mean? Because that's exactly kind of what's happening in some of these games. And I understand, the head coach's point, like it's hard to get in rhythm when you're not on the field. So we got to do a better job collectively of not, there's going to be some times where it's first, second down, but, we got to pick and choose our spots to get it to a third down a little bit more than what we're doing.
Understandable, though, that when you bring in a new scheme, in terms of personnel, it's going to take, you're saying there's guys that maybe ideally they don't always want to do such and such, but shouldn't you have guys here that can do all those things? I know that you were excited about Milton because of his versatility and stuff like that. Isn't there something you said for you need a little more time to get to, do you feel like you need a little more time to get the personnel that you need to run your
Jeff,
schemes?
no. Like our deal is figure it out, man. That's what we're paid to do, figure it out. So we need to figure it out better than what we're doing, flat out.
Start to play, 5 and 6 linebackers a lot through your career here as defensive coordinator?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it depends, again, who we're defending and who we have. So that goes into, what are our guys' skill sets? What are we asking them to do? Who does that well? Let's get them in the field. Let's get them on the field. We'll see who's, playing at a high level. And like what we talked about, I think last week it was, like certain guys you can't afford to take off the field. We're not going to take them off the field. But that's an ever-evolving process of, who we have, how we're playing, who we're playing, where are we at, year 1, year 2, year 3, whatever. Is this guy a rookie? Is this guy a 5th-year guy? All that's all taken into account when we decide, hey, here's the 11 that are going out there in this package. Here's what they need to get done to play winning football.
Do you feel like you've gotten the players to believe in what you're trying to do?
I think so. And I'm confident in that because when we go in and install the game plan, they're juiced up. And they're like, when we explain to them, hey, here's why we're doing what we're doing, they understand, and you see it in practice and you see it in the game. They are trying to do what we want them to do. We got to set it up a little bit better. I always say, like, a lot of people, they start pointing fingers at the players. I've never met a player that wants to mess up, ever. So, when things aren't going great, it's always comes from, hey, let's look from a standpoint of what are we asking this guy to do? How are we coaching it? What are we saying to the guy to improve the player? So, that's what I love about our coaching staff. That's what yesterday was. That's what today is. Like, hey, how do we improve our guys? Let's serve the players. Because when you serve the players and they play better, you win football games. That's it.